You don't wake up one day and realize your money is gone. There is no single mistake, no dramatic collapse, no obvious warning. What happens instead is quieter and far more dangerous. Your money starts obeying patterns you never consciously chose. Payments repeat, balances stagnate, and every month feels slightly tighter than the last. If you keep reading, you'll understand where this process actually begins and how to interrupt it before it becomes permanent. Most people believe financial loss comes from poor income or bad luck. The numbers tell a different story. They show that money disappears through routines that feel justified, deserved, and harmless. Nothing feels wrong enough to stop, yet the outcome is always the same. Effort without progress, income without leverage, work without relief. The real issue is not ignorance, it's invisibility. You can't correct what you don't clearly see, and modern finances are designed to fragment attention. Money exits in small pieces across many channels at different times. Because there is no single painful moment, there is no urgency, only gradual erosion. What makes this more serious is that financial pressure changes how people think. It narrows options. It encourages short-term comfort over long-term positioning. Over time, people stop asking what their money could do and start asking what it can barely cover. By the end of this text, you won't just recognize where money vanishes. You'll understand why the system favors disappearance and how to step out of it with clarity instead of sacrifice. Money does not wait for your intention. By the time your income arrives, much of it already has a destination. Rent, utilities, financing plans, insurance, subscriptions, these decisions were made in the past, yet they operate in the present with full authority. Your role is reduced to compliance. This is why people feel financially trapped, even with stable income. The issue is not how much they earn, but how much of that income is already spoken for. When obligations are fixed, flexibility disappears. Choice shrinks long before money runs out. Most financial stress lives in the gap between income and commitment. When that gap becomes thin, every unexpected expense feels like a threat. Not because it's large, but because there is no margin to absorb it. Daily spending follows emotional logic, not mathematical logic. Convenience purchases remove friction. Small comforts compensate for stress. These expenses are not random. They are predictable responses to pressure. The more constrained someone feels, the more likely they are to buy relief instead of progress. Automatic payments are especially dangerous because they bypass awareness. When money leaves without action, it no longer feels like a decision. Over time, people stop questioning costs that no longer register as choices. Income feels empowering only briefly. After that, it dissolves into categories, obligations, and habits. What remains is not what you earned, it's what survived the system you built, often unintentionally. The first financial mistake most people make is assuming they still control money that has already been promised elsewhere. Large financial errors are rare. Small repeated ones are constant. A single expensive purchase hurts once. A small recurring expense reshapes an entire year. The brain reacts to size, not frequency. This is why people scrutinize major purchases but ignore daily spending. Yet frequency determines outcome. $10 spent every day doesn't feel threatening, but it silently removes thousands from future options. Repetition creates certainty. Not certainty of comfort, but certainty of outflow. Money that leaves regularly becomes predictable, and predictable loss feels less painful than unpredictable loss, even when the total is larger. Small expenses also avoid accountability. They don't force trade-offs. You don't cancel something else to afford them, so the cost feels detached from consequence. This separation is what allows leaks to persist indefinitely. Over time, this creates financial fatigue. People aren't broke, but they're never free. They earn, pay, repeat. Progress becomes theoretical, always scheduled for a future increase in income that never fully arrives. Another hidden effect of repetition is normalization. Once an expense blends into routine, questioning it feels unnecessary. It becomes just how things are, even when it actively works against long-term goals. Money doesn't disappear through drama. It disappears through acceptance. One of the most damaging beliefs is that more income solves structural problems. It doesn't. Without control, higher income simply supports higher inefficiency. The numbers grow, but the pattern stays the same. Another belief is that financial discipline means deprivation. In reality, discipline means precision. Knowing exactly where money goes removes anxiety, because uncertainty is replaced with clarity. People also confuse access with freedom. Credit, installments, and deferred payments feel empowering, but they reduce future choice. They protect present comfort by taxing tomorrow's income. Many avoid looking closely at their finances because the truth feels uncomfortable. But avoidance doesn't delay consequences, it concentrates them. What isn't faced early is paid later with interest. The future of your money is not decided by markets or trends. It's decided by commitments you renew automatically and expenses you no longer question. Every month you don't interrupt them, you vote for the same outcome. Real financial change doesn't require extreme sacrifice. It requires interruption, stopping what drains quietly before chasing what promises growth. When you stop asking, "How much do I make?" and start asking, "How much do I control?" your decisions change immediately. The numbers are already clear. The only question is whether you respond now or let them finish the story for you.